Good day. This is Tata Tronco Ceiba doing another live. Hope everybody is well tonight. Whoever's on board, just write anything so I know who's on board. Gotta wait to get some more people. Hey, how you doing, so bar? Long time no speak. Thank you, Gamer Light. Many blessings to you. Hi, Gamer Light. Maliconsada, Wilton. How you doing? Lit Shorts. Maliconsada, Jason. Hope you're doing well. Hope all my godchildren are doing well tonight. I expect to have several of you on board tonight. Let's just wait a little bit and get some more people logged on. Again, like I always say, as we're doing this live, you guys are more welcome to ask questions. Just stay humble. I don't need no negativity going on in this platform. This platform is not about that. We're here to help one another out, educate one another. How you doing, Axe? How you doing, Avian? Aven? Like Gonzalo, Mark. How you doing, Trini? Nice for you to join us, and you're welcome. Like Gonzalo Hamelin, nice of you to join. Nice to see you too, Mark. You're welcome. Like Gonzalo Benjamin, you're welcome, Benjamin. Let's just wait. Today I want to do a like Gonzalo Cindy. I'm gonna do a prosperity work with the Macumbe, which is the pumpkin. Like Gonzalo Reina. So now, granted, I will use some ingredients, but basically the way the protection, if you're practicing this religion that you're already initiated, you have your spirits to work with. Of course, we're gonna work this a different form, but I am not here to show and tell anything besides what I'm able to show and tell everybody else, because I can't determine who is initiator or not. Limitless, Mother Gonzala, nice to join you for you to join us. Cyrus, Mother Gonzala, long time no speak. Can you guys see and hear me? Cyrus is saying he can't see me or hear me. Jason, can you see me and hear me? Thank you, Trini. Thank you, Limitless. All right, so before I do this, figure we should have enough people here by now. Thank you, Josh. Gonzalo J, nice of you to join us. Um, I still get a lot of questions about the Enkimba, the initiation scratching. So let's talk a little bit about the Enkimba, the scratching initiation ceremony. One of the most important aspects of this initiation is your spiritual death. That must happen because this allows for your second birth, your rebirth, your second chance in life, which means all of your mistakes committed that have brought you great obstacles, including, let's just say, depression, anxiety, even karma itself, are erased through this Nkimba, the initiation process. From that point on, if you acquire any obstacles, any karma, that's solely unto you. So that is one of the major important aspects of that. Like I said, it's your rebirth. Um, so when you go through this process, even new opportunities that you were not even conceiving, I mean, they would um they will show up in your path. Now it's up to you whether you jump on them, whatever. But the point is that even things like that should occur. Um, you're going to receive certain gifts or abilities from the spiritual world, like the gift of healing, feeling spirits, hearing spirits, and eventually the ability to foresee um, the future, all right, future events, whether it pertains to your current life right now or it pertains to the future, whether it's a couple weeks ahead, months, or even years, whatever the case may be. But please keep in mind that you're gonna be under the watchful eyes of the spirits. They're making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and not only in behaving correctly, but also keeping up with your own responsibilities. I might initiate you, but it is not my responsibility to attend to my spirits. That is solely your responsibility. It is not my responsibility to try and make that connection with that spirit. That falls on you. There's certain things that your godparent cannot do for you, and this is one of them. You know, this energy is more inclined to your own frequency. That's why it has chosen you. But from that point on, it's up to you to make that connection. And unfortunately, some people think just because they're initiated doesn't mean that they're going to be given. They think that they're going to be given things automatically, and it does not work that way. It simply does not work that way. You have to have, first of all, extremely strong and firm discipline. I mean, that's the thing. You don't have no discipline, don't even contemplate coming to this religion. Um, Another important thing is you must work with your what they call cuadro espiritual, in your spiritual square, dealing with your ancestors, your eguns. And this helps you to be more receptive. If you can build that spirituality with your altar, that in turns moves over. Now you're more receptive to the rest of the spirits, and it allows for better communication among so many things. So one very important aspect of this, besides making that, trying to make that connection, is learning how to completely empty your mind. I mean, this goes beyond meditation. It's key that you're able on call to be able to shut down, quiet your mind. I mean, nothing in there. And you're gonna see how you're gonna start receiving all kinds of information. I mean, this takes long hours, days, weeks, months, even years. So in this religion, it is a way of life. It's something that um you must be ready to commit a lot of your time, a lot of effort. There's a lot of work, because just because you are initiated, it's not going to be automatically that you're going to be getting all these things. No, you have to put in your work. At the end of the day, and this is a big factor why people they don't they don't advance as fast or as strong as they're supposed to because they're not really doing their part. Thank you, Jason. Madeko Sonia. Madeko Spellbound. So, like I said, I can initiate you in my Munanso the proper way. We're not even discussing that. But when after a certain time you go home with what you were supposed to go home with, and you just let it sit there, getting dust over it, don't come to me 6 months later and tell me that you have not felt anything. Because even the energies in your body, it's going to take longer for them to get aligned for the simple fact that you're not trying to do that connection with the outside energy force that needs to be connected with your inside energy force. Hey, how you doing, Root Doctor? Salam alaikum. How you doing, Rico? And Matthew? So, Osvaldo, nice for you to join us. Alaikum salam. So I just want to make it clear that it's not simply you going through the initiation. I mean, every single one of us that have been elevated through the years and through the internal hierarchy of this beautiful religion has put in major work. Like nothing has ever come to us easily. But that's what makes us great in what we do. We stuck it out. We put in all the hard work. And another thing with Palo is it's a system that you're gonna learn by trial and error. Plain and simple. You're not going to come into this and the first spiritual work you do is gonna manifest. It's not gonna manifest 100% like it's supposed to because it's trial and error. First of all, you have to tweak your own internal energies to connect to the outside energies in order to have that degree of synchronization. Then you have to figure out how does that outside energy, how does it really operate? You know, that's why they say we have our own manya, our own way of work, of course. But in order for it to be a manya, there was 1,001 fails to the two that was successful. So it takes a lot of trial and error in order to be able to be confident enough where you already know how your spirits work or how they don't work. Malekun Sala Enoch, Malekun Sala 7L. So let me see if I'm able to turn this. Wrong way. How am I going to be able to do this? All right, let me see. Hopefully it works out this way. Can you guys see that? What? Do you guys see this? All right, so this would be a combination, which will be a little bit harder for the beginners. But this will be a combination of the energies of Mama Chora, Lucero and Cuyo, and Sasi and Kalunga. So first you're gonna cut, man. I didn't know this pumpkin was that hard. Be patient. Should have did it in the upstairs table, but hey, we're already here. All right, so you're gonna cut all around it, the lid. All right, finally. All right, so see the seeds? Now you're gonna take some of the seeds out, the guts. Put it right on top of here because you're gonna put it right back in there. Now, like I said, when you pay a Tata Yaya that has the knowledge, we do things differently. So, but I'm just trying to give you a general outlook. So, in the brown paper bag, you're gonna write your name, everything that you need that you're looking for in this prosperity. You'll put it right in the pumpkin. Here I'm gonna put in polo. Judía. Alumbre. Rock. And no, that's not salt. That's alumbre. In my case, I have the prosperity oil that I create by hand. I'm gonna add some cloves. Ooh, that's potent. Some cinnamon. Palm oil. So in the guinea pepper, we're working with 4 different entities. So 5 for one, 3 for the other. Seven. And 7. Now you see this here is already mixed. I have ocean water, river water, well water, a couple of other waters, but the key point here is we had to bring these natural elements. Later, I will add something for Nsasi that I have sitting on top of the Nganga in order to complement these energies here. Now, honey. Now, who can tell me Why are we using molasses? Melao de caña in this. And lots of it. A lot more than honey itself. I know Mother de Agua likes it, but there's another reason behind that. Whole cinnamon. Oh, you guys are trying hard though. No, Mark. No, good try, Real Doctor. I'll tell you. Because the amount of cinnamon that's in here, whether it's the whole sticks, the powder, and not to mention the honey itself is hot. So molasses is cool, believe it or not. So you had to put a lot more molasses in order to counterbalance the energies in here in order to project the right manifestation of prosperity. Does that make any sense? My godchildren know what this is. This is chamba. Woo! Oh yeah. All right, girl star. Nice for you to join us. I didn't see you were on board. I have a lot of my godchildren here today. I'm blessed. Hey, Mark, recognize those? So now we're gonna pull all the guts back in here. Find the right way. Anyways, you put it back in there. I'm just gonna show you how you should see it. I have to reopen this after my live and continue adding my ingredients, my true ingredients. So then you will go around and seal it with wax, just like that. But like I said, I need to hold off as I still have to add my own personal ingredients and do a number of things to it. So like I said, we're working with several entities. So we'll put I'm just gonna do one. Like I said, I still have to finish this per se my own way. I just wanna do a little glimpse of what to do. So those that are not initiated, I don't recommend working with multiple energies. It's not really gonna work for you. Trust me. Those that are initiated and you feel strong enough to work with multiple energies, you just gotta give like 5 pennies for Chola, 7 Sasi, 7 Kalunga, and 3 for Nkuyo. So I will do that later. Seal this up real good. Then I would hit it from here down here. I don't want to do it now because it's gonna get messy for me. All the way around, hit it with cascarilla because once this is sealed, I gotta put those 20 cents candles around here, light it, put in front of the nganga for X amount of days, and I will have to ask how many days since I'm dealing with multiple entities. I have to actually find out how many days it is, and then from there, I would ask where does it go. Oh, I forgot. You also add toasted corn. But this I will do later because I actually gotta do something to this. Let me see my questions. You guys have any questions? Michelle, I'm working with 4 different energies. A libreta, yeah, that is your registration. That is your birth certificate. Um, that is essential to you. I mean, who? Okay, so what happens? I initiate you right now, right? And somebody's gonna come and contest that legality of your initiation. They're not gonna take your word, and you're not gonna walk around with your spiritual things on top of your head and shoulders. So this is when you bring out that birth certificate and it shows all the information on there. That's how important. And that it's actually called Encandi, that notebook. And oh my God, you should know that every single one of them gets one. And Polo is it's Congo magic. That's why it is Reina, Congo magic. So after it sits in front of Nganga for, like I said, this was a little complicated because I'm working with 4 entities. Because somebody asked me what do I do with it. So after the determined amount of time that has to sit there, because I also has to keep it with light. Once that period comes up, I gotta ask where do I take it? Whether it's the river, whether it's the mountain, whether it's the woods, whatever the case may be. Also go in there, give my offerings to every entity that resides in there because that is the ethical and proper thing to do, and leave it. If he's said by a rock, if he's said by a tree, whatever the case may be, that's where it goes. Oh yeah, Cyrus, it's been working in strange ways. Gabi, I don't have a product page as of now. Who's doing online initiation? I'm missing a very important conversation here. I saw online initiation. Well, Spencer, if that happens, you have some forces around you that really don't want to prosper. That's a whole different investigation that has to take place. Spellbound. Of course, Enoch. I was born from Salamanda, but I work with Nsasi. And of course, like I said, there's a difference between the results that you are gonna have by you non-initiates doing this type of work compared to if you hire somebody that is trained in these arts. Because another tool that must be done in order to harness these ensambi spirits, these energies to help us out with the prosperity work would be the garabato. It's not just to cut bad energies off, take bad energies. You can also bring good energies into your spiritual works. That's how important that is. Thank you, Sira. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm not good with names. Mother Gonzala, Sacred Space. Mama Goddess, you will have to get a reading for that. There's so online Polero told you he initiate you online and send you your elekes. We don't have elekes in Palo. And there's no way. If our African ancestors would hear what you just said, they would re-die once again. Yeah, Mark, it has to do with both. Exactly with logic, and it has to do with the energies. There's another logic behind that too. Enoch, you cannot do no combinations of. I want to do an Nganga combination of Mama Chola and Salawanda. No, that's a new age thing. I don't know where they're coming from with that. Can you combine the energies in spiritual work? Of course. But can you actually combine both in Gangas? No. So far, I've explained to you how those works, those the love oil. How exactly does your love oil work? You're agitating certain energies to go out and bring you success in that aspect that you're working with. So you could put them on your skin, let it dry, put your favorite cologne or perfume on it. You could rub it on candles. You know, you just saw me dump a whole bunch of my prosperity oil inside the Macumbe, the pumpkin. Good evening, Manuel. Enoch, I can't tell you how you work both energies together. You should know better than that. I can't divulge information like that. For you to know those things, you gotta be initiated, and your godparents have to teach you. Spellbound. The only one that can create an Nganga is a Tata Nganga. Not no Tata in Kisimalongo, not no Yaya in Kisimalongo. And if a Yaya is gonna create anything, she's gonna supervise because she's not allowed construction, but she could have an initiated male that has the license to do so, and under her supervision, everything could be done. Spencer, do you sell powders? I sell anything. Everything is custom made. Do I keep anything on hand? No. Everything is done whenever I get the order. But how can I tell you that you have to get initiated palo or you cannot be initiating palo? One religion does not dictate the other. Can they recommend, yo, you have an issue here, a ruler saying you need to rewind and go back to palo? Yes. Now, conversation's getting a little crazy here. Yes, some babalaos are initiating palo, but once they do those um compacts, those accords, those agreements with Orula, that gets thrown to the side. They have their own vessels that works just like in Ganga. But no, they can't. I'm just saying this is how I was taught years ago. It's just a new fad now where the Babalaos go now into Palo and initiate this and the third, but under Orula's rule, it's not supposed to happen, you know? So let's talk. No, JK, Orula does not have nobody's head. Orula has something else besides their head. Orula cannot own nobody's head. That's why he was given that prestigious position by Oludumare in order to keep. Because once upon a time, Chango and the other Orishas will go to Batala, take people to get a reading to see who their guardian angel was, and Obatala will constantly say, they're mine. And then they got mad, and they're like, why is it every time I bring somebody here, he's yours? He goes, because it's my house, my rules. So they went back to God himself, and God made that, he made that exception with a rule that he told Rula, you are forbidden from ever to own nobody's head because you are the neutral party here. You are the referee. You are just going to tell it the way it is. Since he has nothing to gain from it, no conflict of interest. He's the one that tells you you are the child of this Orisha. Plain and simple. No, Yaya cannot cut nobody. Nope. So let's talk about something else. You might be aware, you might not, but for the most part, practitioners recognize seven pacas, right? And they are Camposanto, and Paca Munafinda, Cunafinda, whichever way you want to pronounce that, and Paca Bejuco and Finda, and Paca Munazo Congo, and Paca Cheche, and Paca Guia, or and Paca Enfumbe, whichever way you want to, and Paca Vititi Menso. Those are the seven that they recognize. But there's an eighth in Paca, and it's a very important Paca. It's called Paca Mbani, and I'll briefly show you what that is. You see how it's not a typical Paca, that it has the ingredients and it's sealed. This gets consecrated in order to be able for any Tata or Yaya to go out to wherever it is that you want to go and acquire spirits. Acquire spirits of a certain type for the Nganga itself, or you can grab these spirits and put them directly into whatever spiritual work you're working with. So I figure I had to bring that up because, everybody talks about the seven pacas. Yes, but this is also an Empaka. And it's a very important tool. Without this, a lot of us would be not so good at what we do. That's in Paca and Bani. Gabi, it's changodsv at gmail.com. I actually have a video of the services that I provide, and I left that in the description. So, yeah, I just figured I bring that up because it has fallen to the side, and I just don't understand how Tatas and Yayas are able to go out of all places cemetery. Or you see, this that's another misconception that you can only find the dead spirits in the cemetery. Honestly, I think it's quite the contrary. I think they don't even really hang out by that much numbers there, because you can go to the corner of your house, and if you had your spiritual eyesight, you would just be surprised of how many dead souls are there, and a lot of them are just looking for a way out. A lot of them are trying to find a system, find somebody that has that spiritual ability, that medium ability to sense them and to work with them. They're more than willing to be under the laws and regulations of the governing Ganga. They just want to be a part of something, and that way they get fed and this and the third. But there, you don't really have to go to the cemetery, because you can get it in the river, you can get it in the crossroads, you can get in the mountain, the woods, especially the hospital, and anywhere you can imagine. You can go and harness these if you know how to do it. Anyways, I don't recommend nobody that does not know at the knowledge to even try it, because you will be in trouble. So so I figure I bring that up because that's a very important aspect of this religion, but I don't hear anybody talking about it. And like I said, they don't even recognize the empaka that you need in order to do those things. Yes, spirits could get into those open containers. You're right about that. Now, Mark, you know I can't answer that question. How do you attach spirits to the Nganga de Lucero? Thank you, real doctor. I try to give jewels, but also I have to keep some for the book I'm writing. So just give you a little appetizer. You're me. Gonzalo Marcel, nice for you to join us. Enoch, there is no limitations of what you. I mean, most of the Palo practice, it's in people's homes. I mean, it's kind of dangerous for you to go and risk a lot of things in your life to go out there in the public to try to do certain things. It's okay, Mark. Hey, now I'm still working on it. I have such a busy life. Whenever I can dedicate some time to it, then I have to have somebody help me with the editing and this and the third. It's not as simple as people think. All right, Spellbound. She calls dibs on an autograph copy. Thor is getting into Apollo and to Apollo like Santeria. where you start off with Lekis. No, there's no Lekis besides this Leke and Palo. Again, that's another thing that the New Age Paleros are doing. They're doing that. They're bringing all the aspects of Ocha into Palo, which is so wrong in so many levels. Staffels, of course. The, uh, the, can the creator call the spirit or spirits away from you? Yes. Spirits that you have gathered, not your personal spirits per se. They have a job to do, and that's accepted by God Himself. How you doing, Manuel? Nice for you to join us. That is so difficult to belong to two Munansals and want two Palo Munansals. What is the benefit of that? I mean, I just don't understand the question. Why would you belong to two separate Palo Munansals? Now, can you belong to a Palo Munanso and belong to an Ocha house that is different from your? Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. One one religion does not dictate the other, and if your Palo Godfather is not into Ocha, well, I mean, logic should tell you you still want to pursue that your spiritual journey here, and that includes Ocha. Well, you have to go elsewhere for that. You're welcome, Steffels. How you doing, Deal Chi girl? All right, if I butchered that. Can a maleficent force pretend it wants to work with you if you don't have the experience? Of course. And I tell people this all the time. There's some people that have had a dark entity around them for many, many, many years, and it's almost part of its own shadow, right? And they could really go into a spiritual mass and fool 10 good mediums in that room. That entity is your spiritual guide. Let's just say from one of the spirits that's supposed to be there for you. That's how that's how deep things could get in that aspect. Yeah, Mark. The spirits that accompany you from birth are what we call egus, which be they don't disappear once you enter Palo. They just step aside because at the end of the day, their opinions is heard, but at the end of the day, your Palo spirit has the last say in the decisions about you. 7L, I know nothing about no Legba. I don't. No, myself. There's actually Brijumba Congo, and then there's Brijumba with Mayombe. So that's where you're getting confused at. So I guess you can cross over because that's technically it's still Brijumba because it's Brijumba with Mayombe. Hey, now it's with the entities that I work with. That's how I decided on the color of my banner. No, Marcel, the only thing that could work there is having license in Brijumba, then Brijumba with Mayombe, for the simple fact that Brijumba is involved in that. But how could that be possible? You're initiating Brijumba and then you're still gonna be part of Mayombe or Kimbisa or Chamalongo. It doesn't really work that way. Good, myself. I'm Brijumba Congo myself. There's not that many of us. Well, now in the open. Yes, Mark, we are Bijumba Congo. Enoch, that would be, would Nsambi be more akin to Obatala or Dumare? Olodumare. Obatala is not God. Olodumare is God. And Sambi is God. No, Jason, he means Legba. And I don't deal with voodoo. I respect that. That's a whole different world. That's not part of my world. Nor do I have any desires. I have enough to continue to learn just in Palo and Ocha alone. I don't need to compact. That's why I never became a Babalao, which I could show everybody my ita, and I have that path. But I decided I would never abandon Palo. That's why I never took that step. 7L, I don't know what you're doing, but like I said before, let's keep this respectful. We're not trying to bring negativity. There's no reason why we cannot all get along and have fun and at the same time also learn. Yes, limitless. When you get Lucero, does it have a certain path specific to that cauldron? Yes. Yes. Thor, yes, you do. Do I have to get a reading to see if Palo is meant for me? Yes, you do. Ashore and Go is originally the leopard, um, the animal that took care of the Bantu people to the very end. And actually, when you get scratched, those scratches are imitating and Go. That's how important that animal it is to our religion. Trini Rican, there might be houses that don't acknowledge Sidarayo. I mean, like I said, I can't speak for no other houses or for that matter any other lineage besides from ours and any other branch. Whatever they do is what they do. I know about what I do over here. Frankly, I'm not worried about what other people do and do not do. Marcel, there is no old doom prohibiting paddle. That's a modern age thing because when Aruda, the the non-fictional character, the actual historical character, Aruda, when he was here alive, he had never bumped into Paulo. So there's no old dudes. You gotta watch it, kids. These people like to manipulate things in their favor. And you can find this out. You can ask a Babalao that it's a truthful Babalao that has knowledge, and he'll tell you. It's just how in modern times these godparents manipulate things just to keep their power over you, to keep you from going somewhere else. Enoch, at the end of the day, if that white person has, there's white people that might have spirituality a lot stronger than yours. All right, not to be disrespectful to nobody, but race really has nothing to do with Palo. Palo is a world's religion. You know, the word Bantu means people. Yeah, Marcel. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why Ikafun came hard, because those babalaos that are not respecting those pacts they did with Arula, he even said he's coming for a lot of his children because he's tired of people leaving Ifa to come and conquer Ocha and Palo. And they're not supposed to be doing that. Like I said, don't take it from me. Ask a true babalao and he'll tell you whoever told you that is correct. Though we can't start this synchronizing with the Orishas and the Impungos. Two different worlds, two different energies. Yeah, you thought it was Cuban, but where did it come from? And not just Cuban. Don't get that twisted. How about Puerto Rico that had the same amount of slaves coming through there too around the same time? How about Trinidad? And how about all these little islands in the Caribbean? People forget that slaves landed there. And people forget that 75% of the African slaves went to Europe. So what? They just killed their religion. They didn't do the same thing our ancestors did in the Caribbean and adapted and made sure that the religion survived. Of course they did. So that landed in Italy, which it did. You mean tell me there's no Italians and they're white that are in that religion? Because the core basis is Palo. And I'm just tired of that machismo, egotistical view when it comes to this religion. Don't come telling me because this is a Cuban religion. Just because the main title says African Cuban, okay. How about those slaves that made it to Brazil before they made it even to Cuba? Find out the history where the first slaves ended up. So that part of the world does not have a counterpart of Palo because originally it was Palo, but like I said, every section, every region of the world they went, they had to adapt. Of course they do. So at the end of the day, these Cubans talking sideways, they don't own religion. Nobody owns religion. It's not religion. This is spirituality. Nobody owns spirituality. You can only control your own. Exactly. Mexico's another one. Everywhere these slaves went, they took the only thing that nobody could take away from, and that was the love and for the religion that they had. In PR alone, there's what is it called? Loisa is called. And to this day, you have nothing but dark Ricans there. And to this day, they're all feared because to this day, they still they still continuing with their Congo heritage. And they've been there. It's around the same time that the slaves made it to Cuba. They're not saying this is a Puerto Rican religion, an Afro Puerto Rican. That's just people in their ego. Loisa, yes. Marcel knows what I'm talking about. So, Marcel, do you agree with me? Those people they held on to their Congo beliefs for all these generations. To this day, they still don't want to hear anything outside of the Congo religion. Any more good questions? I get a little upset because the biggest thing, and you're hearing from me, the biggest thing that a practitioner of, I don't care what rama, what branch you're from, the biggest thing that practitioners should learn, if they're not born with it, they have to eventually learn it, is being humble. And by you claiming this and you shunning certain people, especially when it comes to the color of the skin, I don't want to hear it. Because at the end of the day, most Cubans that still practice that in Cuba are light skinned like I am. Doesn't mean we don't have our ancestors in our blood. All right. Because I guarantee you, I have Congo in me. But you don't see me here. I'm humble enough to tell you this is the world's religion. At the end of the day, God's not going to tell these impungos, these entities, oh no, I don't mess with that person because that person's white, yellow, green, or orange. This has to do with spirituality. That's why not everybody has that invitation to Palo. If you're not spiritual enough to be able to deal in this world, you're not going to get that invite. I'm sorry. So it does not matter. Where do I see Palo Mayombe in 20 years? Not in a very good position. Is it still going to survive? Yes. In what condition? Extremely diluted, extremely confusing, heartbreaking to say the least. But through my honest efforts, through my own munanzo and my teachings to my godchildren, I can only pray that I could teach them all that I know so they could grab that knowledge and start their own munanzos and start teaching their godchildren so their godchildren can eventually teach it to their godchildren. And at least 10% of this religion, you can look for it, eventually find it, and they come into an area where we're still keeping things like they're supposed to be kept. So Marcel said when I lived in Miami in the 90s, he told me because I wasn't Cuban, I was too stupid to learn about Ocha. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. So they speak the Cuban tongue when they're speaking to the Rishas. They're not speaking Jeruban and Arara and all these different uh, dialects. Yes, limitless. And I know you do good in Palo. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm a little upset, but it just gets under my skin because I just don't appreciate what goes on, and it seems like every week it's just escalating. It's getting worse and worse. Would the religion survive? Of course, you're gonna have to search out munansos that are still continuing this practice the correct and proper way in order for you to benefit from this religion that you're supposed to benefit. Any munanso that tell their godchildren to do witchcraft to your neighbor because your neighbor just took your parking, it's not a true munanso. Seriously. When you are instilled in this type of mentality of harming people instead of helping them, you don't belong. You don't belong in this religion. This religion was not created for that. No, Enoch. Enoch says that Palo could be as big as the African communities as Islam was in the 60s. No, Palo could be greater. Palo could be one of the top world religions if only given the chance. And it starts with our own BS, our internal BS. Nobody else is stopping us but ourselves. The first thing they want to do nowadays is, oh, I have a better Nganga in you, so we're going to start Wanga, a spiritual war. That's real nice. Marcel, this religion was instilled in Puerto Rico eons ago, right along with that slave trade that went to Cuba. So I don't understand why they keep on with this. Nobody can stamp their name on spirituality. I'm sorry, nobody. Thank you, Steffels. It's not that I'm being straightforward. Is I started making these videos. Like I said, you never heard me pinpoint a particular Tata Yaya, and I would never do that. You know, the way I respect the fact that this is the way they taught you, that's the way they taught you. But don't think that your truth is the absolute truth. Don't be going out there and just spreading misinformation. Because in today's age, it's 2021, whether you like your enemy or not, your enemy could be speaking the truth. Just listen. That's part of being humble. That's part of growing spiritually in this religion. Those that are stuck in their ways would never grow. That. I mean, that's a given. Enoch, we never said that Udumare and Sambi are the same entities. Nobody has said that. You try to compare Ensambi to Obatala. I say you would rather compare to him to Olodumare because Olodumare holds the title of the creative spirit in Ocha, and Ensambi holds the title of creative spirit in Palo. So, you know, out of all the choices, we just pinpointed you to like, no, if you're going to do any comparison, this is the more logical one. But we never said they were the same. Exactamente, Marcelo. Arriba en Ganga no hay facenda. Yes, Cyrus. England had a lot of slavery. Well, Cyrus, maybe those Paleros in England, because I know they exist, because I speaking to one. Um, Even though his knowledge is a little bit different, I spoke to him about certain things to get him in the right track. They're still around. Maybe because of the culture over there where they still find it a necessity to stay underground. Because of all these religions, Palo is still the most secret. Even here in America. Even here, of course, we are. But still, just look at Richard Macumbe. There's no literature out there. Exactly, spirit knows no skin color. No skin color. Thank you, Susan. Yes, there's a huge amount of spiritual wars within these religions. And it's not just Bible, it's also in Ucha. I've seen that. If people have honoring their ancestors next to me, has an effect on the honoring the slave masters next to people who are used to be slaves. See, that's another misconception. Have you not even heard these white folks? They used to smuggle runaway slaves along to the north. Not every white person in that period was a racist master. As a matter of fact, that's why they started these wars to end slavery. It wasn't still by a black person. It wasn't still by a white person. So that's just ignorance there. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? How about now? No. How about now? about now? It usually happens after X amount of time. It's still grainy. So yeah, if somebody has that mentality of racism towards one's color, I have white godchildren, okay? I love all my godchildren. I think I have the most mixed Munanso. Not only do I have Spanish, I have white, but I also have African American. And nowadays, that's extremely difficult for somebody outside the Spanish heritage to find a Munanso that's going to love them like they should be loved and going to be told the way they should be told. So I'd be damned if anybody comes at any of my white or black godchildren sideways. So if you have that type of mentality, Paulo's not for you. Because Paulo has nothing to do with color. It's just a stupidity that has been instilled, especially in the newer, the past 3 decades, I would say. And that's not what Paulo is about. I'm sorry, it's not. And Paulo has not. She says it correctly. You should respect the privacy, or the bottom line, you would concern yourself with your practice and not what they are doing correct. Exactly, Jason. If that was the case, everyone in Paulo would be from the Congo, of course. Enoch, please stop reading these books that give you all this misinformation. Take it from me. I love this religion so much. I know what this religion is about. Because you can be white and be spiritual. I can be Spanish and not be spiritual. I will not get that invite, but you will. What does that tell you? And that don't come from me. That comes from the spirits. And at the end of the day, whatever they say goes. Because that was the case, I would not have any godchildren. I probably would not even been initiated myself because I am not black. If that's what you're latching onto. But Enoch, how can you say I'm not debating that racism is wrong on all levels? I'm just talking about a lot of people who have no real appreciation for the African heritage to do so. How can you say that? How can you say that a white person does not have that appreciation? For all we know, he can appreciate a lot more than you. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but how can you come and prejudge people under those terms of skin color? Welcome, Girl Star. Yes, loyalty and respect is the most important quality of a godchild, and willingness to learn. Don't forget that one. Now, myself, let's not continue with this. Enoch, I know what you mean because I heard it before. I went through a lot of racism from white people and still hold that grudge. I came in here when I was 3. The first place I ever lived at was Salem, Massachusetts. To this day, it's white and it's creepy. Anyways, the second place where I went to school was called Oswego, upstate New York, an hour away from Canada. The only Spanish people in there was me, my brother, and the neighbor that migrated with us. Do you think I haven't gone through racism? But in the same sense, I have great white friends that counterbalance that negativity that another white person or group of white people shown to me in the past. So at the end of the day, I need everybody to get off that mentality about racism. Because at the end of the day, underneath this skin, this vessel that we all have, whether it's white, black, green, yellow, mustard color, we're spiritual beings that has no color. And that is what we're trying to connect to. So if that white person, or that Chinese person, or that Hindu, or that Iraqi, Iranian person has that desire, that gravitation towards power, it's not them per se, it's the spirituality. So who are you to even keep them from getting in that part of their spiritual path that they must complete? And this is what I don't get about people. And Zombie himself is the creator spirit that does not intervene with any of one of us. He watches from afar. He does not care what you're doing per se. You understand? This is your life. So if he is not saying 100% sure nobody should be allowed, why are we mere mortals that we're here to live a life experience for X amount of time? Because life is not even guaranteed. All right? Why are we going to focus on something that we have no business to focus on? Yes, a lot of us are mixed. I am one of those people that are mixed. But at the end of the day, Paulo's not looking at me per se. They're looking at my spirituality. That's why I had the green light to come into this beautiful religion. See, look, and I know Cyrus. And Cyrus is a very spiritual person. He's Iranian and Persian. He just confirmed what I was just talking about. So at the end of the day, these are the problems that people try to put a rug over, but is still instilled in the mentality of this religion. I know how many black folks have tried to come into these traditions, and they've been blocked because of that stereotype, that racism mentality. Nobody owns this religion. Nobody. All right, people. I feel like I can't continue anymore without keeping a good posture and grace here. Thank you for joining. May Sami bless you and yours. Thank you for all my godchildren that joined. Thank you for all the viewers. Until next time, may Sami bless you and yours. Assalamu alaikum.